Welcome to day one of the mid-year manifestation challenge. Yes, I'm coming on live from my iPad because somehow my phone would not let me connect live. So I had to do a little bit of jiggling around and shuffling so that I could get live here. So today we are talking about releasing that which doesn't serve us anymore. That's one of the first steps in setting your manifestations, because you don't want to be taking all of that clutter with you going forward. So welcome to the challenge. So good to have you here. I am feeling a little bit off sorts because I've never gone live on my iPad, so I'm just trying to see what is. If you are live, come and say hi. If you've got any questions as we go through, feel free to pop in your questions and I'll try and answer them as we can. If you're catching the replay, you can just comment below and I'll go back and I'll check the comments and I'll answer questions that you have. And if you have a personal question, then just send me a DM. I don't mind, and I will get back to you with your question as soon as I can. So I said that we were going to start this challenge at 13:13. Being the time, because that is also it's a manifestation number, it's an angel number, it's just such a beautiful number, and 13 is my favorite number, my lucky number. And I didn't actually plan to share this in the challenge, but just before I came on I actually looked up 1313 and what it is. So I'm going to share that with you because I think it's actually really powerful, and I hope you can apply it to whatever you learn today. And it says 1313: to teach is to learn. There are many important lessons in your current situation. Make a note of whatever you heal, for you will teach others to do the same. How beautiful is that, right? Yes. Okay, so let's just go through setting the intention for today. And we want to lovingly just release all the clutter that we've been carrying for the last 6 months, or maybe you want to release some of the older baggage too. That's fantastic. This is the space to do that. And we want to clear that energetic weight, because that's what clutter does to us. When we have emotional clutter within our body, if we've got mind clutter, that just, it weighs us down. We want to clear those to-dos that we never got done and that are still there in our headspace, thinking, oh, I have to get this done, I still have to do this. Well, we're going to go through a little bit of a technique where I'm going to help you to see if those things are actually valid and whether they are important to actually get done, or if we can just release them. And we are going to make some space so that we can create some clarity and flow in our manifestations. So if you have signed up, you will have received your planner in your inbox. If you haven't signed up yet, you can still sign up. You can go vanessajaden.com/mid-year, and you will get the planner directly into your inbox. So I just want to take you through the planner real quick, just to explain to you how it works and how it fits in with the challenge. So the planner, I've got so much reflection here. So we've got a little welcome there. Then we go through. The planner is set up to follow each day of the challenge, and in the planner we'll have a little mini teaching that will go into more depth during the challenge. You'll have some notes pages, you can't really see that, and then there will be a tool that you can use for your manifestations. So today we are looking at the Soulful Success Circle. And then you'll also have some journal prompts. And then you will have a little technique at the end of the day's session for that day. And the technique is for you to go practice it at home, something that you can use in everyday life. It doesn't have to be just around this challenge. You can apply it to other things as well. So the planner is your handy tool. I spent many hours creating it and I love it. I'm going to be using it for myself too, because I think it's just such a brilliant tool. So when we think about the energy of clutter and reflection and moving forward. And so our brain is wired for patterns. So what the subconscious mind does is it will find things and build patterns based on those things. So if you think about right now your breathing, just think about your breathing, okay? You don't consciously, you're not aware of it all the time, but there's been a pattern that's been programmed into your mind, in your subconscious, so that as you're speaking, it's, okay, you need to take a breath now. But I don't have to consciously be speaking and think, oh, I have to take a breath now. I need to remember to take a breath now. It just happens automatically, and I'm getting out of breath saying this, trying to speak and breathe at the same time. But it happens automatically, and the same thing happens with everyday life. All sorts of things in our lives creates these different patterns. So one of the things that they say, Einstein said it, not 100% sure if it was actually Einstein, but he says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So in order for us to release things, we need to be able to identify what those patterns are. Otherwise, we will just fall into the pattern and keep doing the same thing over and over. So if you think about those patterns that are in your life, it's like when you get hungry, you will automatically walk to the fridge, open the fridge, and look for something to eat. You don't have this conscious awareness of, oh, I'm hungry now. I should stand up. I should walk into the kitchen. I should open the fridge, and then I should look what there is. It's a pattern. It happens automatically. And sometimes, especially if we've got some emotional eating patterns, those things just happen automatically. And then end of the day, you sit back and you look and say, oh, I've eaten all this junk. Why? Like what happened? It just happened. So recognizing those patterns is a key in terms of looking back and reflecting on what has been and what we want to change and what no longer serves us. But also in looking back, just focusing on the wins, not just the things that we want to release, but the things that have been key to us moving forward. Small things, big things, doesn't matter what it is. Every single win that's celebrated builds a pattern in our subconscious mind of celebration, and it shows evidence, it gives our mind evidence of the things that we want more of. So if we think about clutter, there are many different forms of clutter. Clutter, in most ways, people think of it as it's the things around us. Like if you've got things laying around on the desk, then that would be considered clutter. Maybe you haven't packed away your washing, that would be considered clutter. So sometimes clutter can be physical things, but sometimes clutter can also be in our headspace. If you are overthinking things and you just completely having those thoughts over and over and over, that's like cognitive loops that is happening, and that clutters up your headspace so that you don't have clarity and you can't think properly. Dopamine fatigue is another form of clutter. This is when you take your phone maybe at the end of the day or at any point of the day and you just doom scrolling. You're just scrolling, and maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's Instagram, whatever the platform is where you like to scroll. Or maybe you've been like me and so if I scroll on my Facebook reels, then it will be bikes and racing and fast cars and all of those things that I love. And if I scroll on Instagram, it will be manifestation and mindset and all of those things. And then if I scroll on TikTok, it's going to be cat videos. I don't know why I started with the cat videos, but anyways, I'm kind of getting into that. Maybe I'm just like a bit slow to the catching on to that, but it will be more history related things. Like I love things about like buildings and architecture and just the history around it and things like that. So I can go and I can doom scroll on different platforms for different entertainment reasons. But sometimes we can be doom scrolling, and then afterwards you sit back and you ask yourself like, okay, I've been on my phone for 10 minutes, but what have I actually seen? What have I taken in? It's just clutter, because that's just taking up headspace things that you don't really need to be having in there. So I'm not saying it's bad and you should never do it, but have an awareness that that is creating clutter within your mind. Another thing, decision fatigue. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but especially as a mom, and I'm a single mom, so I have to make all the decisions for everything all the time. Like, what are we eating? Is there this in the fridge? Where is everything? You know, as moms, I think we have this superpower where we can just know where things is, and kids will be like, oh mom, where's this thing? And you'll be like, if you open that cupboard and you look on the left-hand side behind that thing, you'll find it. Like, I have to keep all this information in my head. So decision fatigue is also something that can create a lot of clutter in your mind, is when you consistently have to be making decisions all the time. And then another thing, as women, we have this massive mental load that we are carrying, because we are carrying it for ourselves, we are carrying it for other people, we are carrying it for our kids. If you have kids, you're carrying it for if you're working in a job, maybe your co-workers, maybe the people working under you. If you have your own business, you're carrying all of that. We have all these things that we are carrying, and that causes a lot of clutter in our minds. So when we have all this clutter, whether it be around us in our environment or whether it be in our heads, we can also carry clutter in our body. Because if you've been through emotional trauma, or any kind of trauma, whether it was physical or emotional, it gets stored in your body, and that creates clutter. That creates an energy depletion. So when we have this clutter, what happens is it dims our clarity, it lowers our motivation, and there's no room for your imagination. So in order to manifest, the biggest skill that you need in manifestation is imagination. Because like they said, and right now I can't think of who said it, but if you can see it and you believe it, you can have it, you can manifest it. So it all starts in your imagination. And if there's so much clutter and everything, well, your imagination skill is not going to be working properly. So if we think about, just looking at my notes here, so there was a question that came through. It says, how do we identify what clutter is? And then she said that I'm hesitant to let go in case it's important. And this is such a valid question, because sometimes we don't know what should we let go of, what should we hold on to, what is the actual clutter. Sometimes we can have so much clutter and not even be aware of it. So 2 questions that I think are very key in this is, 1, does it serve you in what you want to manifest? So if you know what the clutter is, does it serve you? Okay. And then, is it causing more work or more mental load? So those are 2 key questions. I'm going to share with you a little bit further down how you can actually identify clutter. So another way of thinking about clutter, and I love this thing, love, give, dump. So you can use this in physical clutter, things around you, as well as sometimes on mental, emotional clutter. This works. Sometimes it doesn't 100% work, especially if it's a negative thing. You don't necessarily want to give it to somebody else. But if you look at those 3 things, and let's just look at something tangible, and I'm literally going to take the lip balm, can't even see it, the lip balm that I have on my desk. And this is something that I was gifted, and it's very nice, so I do use it. But let's say I was busy clearing off my desk and I wanted to be clutter-free. Now, generally I have a very clutter-free desk because I cannot work in clutter. But let's say I was clearing off my desk, then I could take this item, I could hold it in my hands, and I can ask myself, okay, do I really love this? Like, really love this? Okay. Or is this just a nice to have? Or is this something that just sits on my desk that I actually never ever use? And once I have the answer to that, I can decide whether I'm going to love it, I'm going to give it, or if I'm going to dump it. So let's say I don't really love this, okay? Then I can then choose to give it. So if I haven't used it yet, which I have, so I wouldn't really give it to anybody else, then if I hadn't used it and it was still brand new, and I knew somebody else really liked natural lip balm, I could pass it on to them and give it to them. And then that would be sharing my clutter, which I don't want, but maybe it's something that they really love. Now, don't just be giving a gift for somebody so you can get rid of something and somebody else might not love it, and then you leave them with the clutter. That's not the purpose of this, even though sometimes that is the easy way, but we don't always do things the easy way. Or you're going to dump it. So let's say I've used this a bit and I didn't like it, and it's actually just sitting on my desk and I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to chuck it away because it was given a gift, and now I have all this emotional entanglement with it because it was a gift, so or somebody did something really nice for me and blah blah blah. You see, this is now becoming headspace clutter. It's, I don't love it, not going to use it, just dump it, release it and let it go. And you know what happens when you do that? Maybe there is some other kind of lip balm that I absolutely do love. Well, now I've made space to actually go and get the thing that I really love. So that's one way of looking at things very tangible when you're cleaning out your wardrobe. A lot of times we have clothes in our wardrobe, and as a woman, I think you can probably relate to this. We have a section of clothes in our wardrobe, whether it's this much or this much or this much, of the clothes that one day I'm going to lose enough weight to fit into that again. Well, one day, please show me on the calendar where that is, because if you're waiting for one day, it's not going to happen. If you make a plan that in the next 6 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, you're going to make it happen, and you're going to manifest the ideal weight that you want, and you're actually going to wear those things again, different story. But if it's just there, it's clutter, it's taking up space. Release that so that you can make space to get the things that you really want and that you really love. So that's a thing that I use constantly in my life when I am, times when I've been moving house. I've applied that where I've taken literally 3 different boxes where I really love this, so this is going with to my new home. This is still very nice. Somebody else can benefit from it, and maybe I'll give it to a charity shop. And then you know what, this was my favorite t-shirt, but it's actually full of holes now. I think it's not going with to the new place, and then you dump it. So that is just a really nice little technique that I hope you can apply. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you do when you're dealing with clutter, like physical clutter. Do you have some great tips and techniques that other people watching the live can also benefit from? And then another thing is, like, when we think about clutter, and okay, this is one of my favorite ornaments. It's a little ball with lights on the inside, and it doesn't get used much in summer, but in winter I have it on all the time because it just makes the most beautiful light and such a beautiful space for journaling. But when we think about clutter, so if I have a lot of clutter in my hands and I'm trying to manifest this thing, okay, whatever this thing is, I don't have space to receive the thing because my hands are full. And this is why decluttering is so important. You have to make space for it. If you want to manifest a new couch in your home, get rid of the old one. Get rid of it. Make space for it. When I was manifesting a house, right, there was no house anywhere available in my anything. It was just not there, but I was manifesting a house. I had even made a list of 14 things that I wanted in this new house. But you know what I started doing? I started packing. I started getting rid of stuff. I started decluttering. And then I could receive. But as long as you're holding on to stuff and you're not letting go of things because you first want to have the other thing before you let something go, that is counterintuitive, really. Make space, release things, And that's where, so we've spoken a little bit about physically decluttering, but what about the headspace? Well, so one of the techniques that I think is absolutely brilliant, and I share this with all my clients, and this is why you've also got a section in the planner with specific journal prompts, is journaling. Journaling is a fantastic tool to just clear your headspace, to just get rid of some of that noise that is in there. Because when you write it down, number one, visually you can see it. And as you're writing it, what happens a lot of times is you start getting the answers. The reflection is happening almost at an immediate pace. And you'll be writing something and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. And then boom, that thing is just dealt with, sorted, done. Okay? So journaling, it's not just reflective, but it's also rewiring. You rewiring your mind. It calms your nervous system, especially if you create space for journaling. Now, what do I mean by space? So I told you about my beautiful little, I don't know what you call this, like little crystal glass ball, whatever it is, where I make space for journaling, where I will have my cup of coffee. In summer, this is a little bit more difficult for me because it is so light and bright, like the whole of summer year. When you wake up in the morning, it's bright. When you go to sleep, it's still bright. But in winter, when it's dark, I like to light a candle. I put my light on. I've got my coffee, and I create space in the environment. And then I'll start journaling. And just creating that space, it helps you to just bring out things and bring things to the surface that are no longer serving you. What else have we got here? Okay, so it clears mental fog and it gives your subconscious a voice. So a lot of times what happens is as you're writing, because consciously you're thinking about your thoughts the whole time. When you're carrying that mental load or decision fatigue, you've got to make decisions. So you're carrying the consciousness of it in your mind all the time. But when you're journaling, and you're releasing and you're expressing, that gives your subconscious mind space to also come through. And that's where a lot of these times you will have these realizations come through. And sometimes you might be journaling on something and all of a sudden you have another thought and you go down a route and you start journaling on that thing. You just follow the thoughts. And you realize that there was something else that was really blocking you that you were not aware of. But because you started that process of releasing, you were able to release so much more than what you were planning to initially. So yeah, writing things down creates awareness, it shifts your energy, and it allows you to consciously choose new beliefs and patterns. Patterns, remember the patterns are very, very important. Speaking of journaling, I have a paper journal which I use for scripting. So that's writing out my future desires, dreams, goals as if they have already happened. But when it comes to my actual journaling, because I've twice had people read my journal, which I was not happy about. But so I have an electronic journal which has a PIN code on it, so nobody can read it, and that has helped me to just freely write whatever it is. If I'm angry, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, there's no hiding. I can just be as open as what I am because I know nobody's going to read it. So if that is something that interests you, Day One app is the app that I use. I'm not affiliated to them or anything, but I've been using it for more than a decade, and I can tell you it is brilliant. It's fantastic. So brain dumping lightens the mental load, and that is why journaling is so fantastic. Now, I know some people don't like actually writing their thoughts out. Another technique that you can do is doodling. So instead of writing what you're feeling or writing what you're thinking, you can make little doodles or draw little pictures, and that can be a way of helping you express. Another way is if you audio journal. So you can do this in the Day One app also. It's not something I'm fond of doing. I prefer the writing and the typing. And you could literally just speak out what you're feeling. Just speak it out, because even in the speaking out, and even if you can't visually see it, it still gives space for your subconscious mind. So another way that you can try to find out what this thing is, if you're not sure if it belongs in your life, doesn't belong in your life, whether it's a thought, a belief, or something physical, ChatGPT is fantastic for this. So here's a little prompt that you can use where you can say, I have this thing, whatever it is, this belief, this item even, in my life, which I'm not sure if it's serving me. Please act as if you are so if it's a mental thing, a thought, a belief, idea, then say, act as if you are a mental decluttering expert. If it's not, if it's a physical thing, say, act as if you are a decluttering expert, and ask me a series of questions to help me uncover if I should let this go. What will happen is ChatGPT will go, ask you some questions, and you'll have a forwards and backwards conversation, and you will uncover whether this thing is yes, no, let it go, especially if you're not sure and you're holding on to something because of beliefs. Sometimes we can hold on to stuff because of beliefs. So in the planner, I have created a page with the Soulful Success Circle. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the life wheel. So a lot of people will go and they will choose to reflect or set goals based on the life wheel. And the life wheel is different areas of your life, whether it be your career, or your business, financial, family, love, all those different kind of things. Now, I like to work on 3 key areas, and that is giving, receiving, and growth. So in these different areas of the life wheel, they can literally fit into these 3 areas. So in terms of giving, if you think about family, friends, love, what are you giving, right? If you think of receiving, money, career, success, family, friends, all of those things can fit in there also. And when you think about growth, is how am I growing in family, friends, love, health, all of these kind of things, right? So you can see how taking this big wheel, we can literally fit it into these 3 areas, and these 3 are key areas to keep you balanced and help you to move forward and to get your manifestation. So this Soulful Success Circle can be used both for reflecting as well as for manifesting. So today we're going to look at reflecting. So I want you to think about right now and ask yourself, in terms of giving, where has your energy been going? Where have you been over giving? Receiving, how open are you to abundance and support? And where have you resisted receiving? Growth, where have you stretched, learned more, or evolved? And where have you outgrown your old self? So when you're thinking of these things, I want to take you through just a little ritual where sometimes we can be holding on to stuff, and it might not be as simple as journaling it out or decluttering, throwing something away, loving it, giving it away, whatever it is. Sometimes we need to go a step further and almost focus on it at an energetic, spiritual level. And what is a great technique for this is cord cutting. So in your planner, I have written out the whole technique. So I'm going to take you through it right now. But I encourage you to go back to your planner and just look at different things in your life and just start cutting those things and releasing them and getting rid of them. So right now, let's get started, okay? I want you to close your eyes and take 3 deep, slow breaths. Just feel your body settling. I want you to place your hand on your heart. I've got people outside. I'm going to close the window. Okay, let's get back. Deep breath. Put your hand on your heart. Now bring to mind a person, a situation, a belief, or an emotion that just feels draining, heavy, or outdated. Just breathe into that. Now I want you to imagine that you can see a cord of energy that is connecting you to this thing. I want you to notice the shape, the color, and the weight. Now I want you to imagine yourself gently cutting, unhooking, or dissolving this cord with love. And I want you to say, either silently or aloud, I release this with love. I call my energy back now. Just breathe in. Now I want you to imagine a golden light that is just filling that space. The space where that cord once was. And I want you to exhale anything that is still ready to leave. Just let go, just let it flow. Just breathe in and release it. And it's as simple as that in terms of cutting cords. You can take your time on this in the planner when you go through it. And if you feel resistance and feel like you need to unhook more, cut more, and in some instances, like I had a cord that I had to cut once, which was really a deep ingrained cord bond. And I literally felt like I had to take a sword and just like get rid of it. And sometimes you can do that too, and you can do that in a loving way too. So that brings us to the end of today, and I encourage you, go to your planner. If you haven't downloaded it yet, get it done. It's such a tool, and it's going to help you to integrate what we've done today. Because when you go and you do the work, it's just that next level of, instead of just taking it in and listening to the things that I've shared, but you're actually going to integrate it into your life, into your body, and into your subconscious mind. And then I want to encourage you, if you have the courage and the bravery, go and make a reel or share a photo or share just a written post, whatever it is, sharing something that you have uncovered, something that you have decluttered, something that you just let go of. Because like we said in the beginning, take note of what you heal, because you're going to help other people too. And your post might just be the one thing that one person needed to see today that is going to change their life. So I encourage you to do that. And if you'd like to tag me on it, I would love to see it and encourage you and be on this journey with you. So go complete your Soulful Success Circle. Go and write in all the different spaces, all the things that you feel that you need to let go of. Anything that's coming up for you, just go and put them in there. Go do your journal prompts, because they are going to help you with this decluttering and releasing process. And then in the cord cutting ritual, there's an optional extra where it's called burn and release. So you can take that thing that you're cutting, and maybe you want to write it out on a piece of paper and go and burn it, tear it up, rip it up, throw it away, whatever you want to do. Thank you for being here with me today. If you have any questions, please in the comments. I'm happy to get back to you on this, and I will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's day 2. Have a great day.